What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today is going to be rebuilding Barcelona, obviously inside of Football Manager, and we are giving ourselves a max of 5 years to turn them into probably the second to third best team over in Spain, and turn them into the best team in Spain without any shadow of a doubt. Now, we are going to be bringing in some really good young players, using the older players we have like Lewandowski and ter Stegen, and hopefully making some profit off them to give money back to the club as well, because they're not the richest club in world football anymore. So let's go over and see what we can do. If you do enjoy the rebuilds, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and comment below right now 2 teams you want to see get rebuilt next, because with loads of teams you haven't rebuilt, you can also throw in a little challenge, only signing a certain nationality, young players, you know what to do. Be sure to leave a comment, but let's get into it. Barcelona inside the game are pretty much the perfect package. I mean, they are predicted to finish second, that's where they do differ, but I mean, 4.5-star reputation, the same for training, the same for youth, and 5 out of 5 when it comes to youth recruitment. Now, the money situation isn't great at Barcelona, we all know this, which is why in the first season I am not going to be signing anyone, so hopefully we can bring a little bit of money back into the club without spending a lot of money going out. Now, I will say, as a team, of course, they have won a lot of trophies. 5 Champions Leagues, 27 Spanish First Divisions, 3 Club World Championships, 4 European Cups, 3 Europa Leagues, 5 Super Cups, 31 Spanish Cups, and 14 Spanish Super Cups, alongside of the 2 Spanish League Cups. So they have won a little bit of everything. They have done a fantastic job as a club. Now, of course, for me, I do not make any signings in the first window, but if you are playing back home, you are going to have a budget of just around £2 million, and only 25% of your transfer revenue is going to be made available. So in my opinion, don't sell too many people in the first window, because you're not going to get much money anyway. So you might as well use the players, for example, like a Lewandowski, as you can see what tactic we're using now. Lewandowski, yes, he is 34, but if you look at him, he's not the quickest, but if you've got him in sort of a poacher role, target forward, that sort of vibe, he can put the ball in the back of the net. An 18 finishing striker, 17 composure. He is an absolute bagsman if he gets the service. And you've got other players which you may as well use, obviously are on loan. The likes of João Felix is a player who does really well on loan in this game. For, you know, in real life he's a little bit iffy in my opinion, but in the game he's a very good player. Now, the only thing with him is he very rarely wants to join Barcelona after this loan season in the game. I've noticed it a lot throughout the time I've been playing this game. So for me, that is definitely going to be a one-season job. The same goes for João Cancelo, an incredible fullback, but again, he rarely wants to join on the permanent. So we'll make the most of him. Of course, we've got other real key players in this team, the likes of Gavi, a player I'm going to keep here for the entire time if I can do so, because he's absolutely incredible. We've also got De Jong, obviously the player who is linked to every single team in the world, it feels like, especially Manchester United a few years back, but we are not going to be selling him for any amount of money. He is going to be here for guaranteed the entire rebuild. You've obviously got other players like you got Balde, you got Koundé, you got Araujo, but realistically, you know, Pedri. We've got to discuss Pedri as well. Similar to Gavi, a player I am not prepared to sell for any amount of money, because I am literally building this team around Gavi, around Pedri, and of course, where is he? Around the star of the Euros so far. That is going to be Lamine Yamal. Now, this is a player I do not want to sell. I'm going to do my best to keep offering contracts, but I just hope I can give him some game time, or the game gives him game time, because I don't want to loan him out, because I feel like he can actually get minutes in this team. Alongside of him, we've also got players, for example, like Vitor Roque. We've got the likes of, where is he? We've got Ferran Torres. We've got some other players, a lot of players out on loan, like Ansu Fati, who I am keen to give a chance to as well. But realistically, it is going to be an interesting season. I do want to quickly say as well, if you enjoy what you see at the end of this rebuild, you can get the rebuild file over on the Patreon in one simple download, and also get the tactic, and also you get everything early. So it is a big place to go over. There's over 4,500 people, so be sure to go and check that out. But the first season we are playing in 4 competitions: the Spanish First Division, the Spanish Cup, the Spanish Super Cup, and that Champions League, which obviously that's the real big one. But we are predicted a finish of 2nd place, I do believe. Just Real Madrid a little bit better, you know, in terms of the team. Bellingham, Valverde, you know, Mbappe next season. They've pretty much got everyone, so it's going to be quite a bit of a tough challenge. But I'm hoping with this tactic, obviously a recent upload, and the fact that we've got quite a good team, we can go and make something happen in the first season. So let's get into season 1 and see what we can cook up. We're going to start off in that Spanish Cup final against Girona, a team which, to be fair, didn't really give us much of a game, as we go 1-0 up inside of 2 minutes, and we wrap up this game in the 73rd minute with Ferran Torres into Lewandowski, plays it back through. That's trophy 1. And if this is a thing to come, we're also going to match up against Real Madrid in a cup final, where they do go 1-0 up with Jude Bellingham inside of 8 minutes, but we really did turn up to this game. After that goal went in, we come back. I actually switched to an attacking variant of the tactic to clarify that, because I do play the cup finals in these rebuilds. Ferran Torres equalises there, and just before half-time, it it is also going to be a knockback from Gundogan, who's going to play it back inside into Fernan Torres again to make it 2 for him in the first half. We then go just after the first half ends into the second half, 52 minutes on the clock, into João Felix, over the top, into Lewandowski to make it 3-1. And there is, funny enough, time for a 4th goal and a last goal. Balde into Lewandowski, Sergio Roberto plays it back inside. It's a hat-trick for Torres. Unfortunately, the Champions League, we do bail out in the quarterfinals against Arsenal, but to be fair, so far so good in terms of the Spanish Cup. But the big question is, how did we do in the league? Well, we won it. We actually won the Spanish First Division with 32 wins, 5 draws, and only the 1 loss there, coming in against Sevilla, a 1-0 defeat. So nearly a perfect season. Lewandowski, 29 goals, which is really, really good to see. We've got a lot of players in the average rating. Frankie de Jong enjoying a very, very good season alongside of ter Stegen. And to be honest with you, we can't really complain. A very, very strong season. Of course, we are going to actually be completing the Spanish treble, but this is far from done because we need to win the Champions League and overall just build this team into a little bit of a better team prepared for the future. You've got to think next season is going to be so much harder because we're probably not going to have a Lewandowski. I probably will sell him and cash him when I can. We're not going to have, for example, Cancelo, João Felix. There's a lot of players who are going to be coming towards the end, and we've got to try and merge in these players that were out on loan and bring them back into the first team. So it's not going to be an easy job by any means of the imagination. But of course, if we look at the stats, you can see how dominant we were. We're having the most goals. We're very, very defensively solid. Possession-wise, 57% of the ball, so not too bad there. We're having a lot of shots. We are doing everything really, really, really well. Now, going over to the squad, you can see here as well, Robert Lewandowski, 46 goals, 24 for Torres. Rafinha had a great season, a player I didn't even discuss at the start. 24 goals and 16 assists. Ansu Fati had a great season out on loan, which is good because we might rely on him to come back and do exactly the same for us. João Felix had a decent season on loan here, but realistically, I'm not going to sign him on a permanent. Vitor Roque done okay when he come on, obviously as a backup. 8 goals in that regard. 18 assists for Frankie de Jong. 16 for Sergio Roberto. Is it Sergio Roberto? It is Sergio Roberto. Again, a player who I actually think is getting old now. He is. He's 32 years of age, so another player who we're not going to keep for too long. But the best performer overall is going to be Lewandowski. Then it is going to be Yamal, who obviously played very few games but did contribute 3 goals and 7 assists. So overall, a really good situation. Now, what I will say is, this is where it gets interesting. If I would just like to highlight this for you right here, we have got all of these players, your Gundogans, Martinez, Roberto, Dest, Pedrola. These players on loan I won't include because we're not going to keep them. Marcos Alonso, Mark here as well. These players are going to be leaving this year, if not partway through the season next year. So we've either got to sell them or offer some contracts. And to be honest with you, Alonso, Gundogan's an iffy one because I love him in the game, but he is getting older. So we've got to make some big decisions. Now, going into the next transfer window, we have been given a budget of £16 million, which, to be honest with you, it was actually more than 16 million. It's 41 million. Okay, I was going to get a bit worried then. 41 million pounds to spend. Now, I might be forced into spending all of it because at the end of the day, if I sell any players, I'm only getting 25% of the budget, but we are going to appeal and try and get more, considering we have just won a Spanish treble. So we're going to see what we can do, but realistically, a lot of work to be done because we've got a lot of players coming back, but also a lot of players that can go. So let's get into season 2 of the transfers and hopefully somehow improve this team. So the first player leaving is going to be Marcos Alonso. His contract does expire and he is going to be getting a move to the Saudi League on the free, which, to be fair, we didn't pay a penny for him. We didn't really lose out on him. He is getting older. Goodbye to Alonso. So I'm going to wave goodbye to Pedrola. He is going to get a move to the Serie A for Sampdoria, I believe is how you say that, for 2.6 million. Again, we got him on the free. It's a cheeky 2.6 million profit. The real talking point is we are going to offload Lewandowski because you have this stint in Football Manager. The first season, he's incredible. The second season, he can do the same. But after that second season, the value goes from up here all the way down here. We do get a total of £29 million. So a bit of a loss, but to be fair, he has done very well for us. He pushed us into a Spanish treble in season 1. We want to cash in when we can. We're also going to say goodbye to Sergio Roberto. He is going to be going to the Saudi League for 6.7 million after an incredible career over in Spain for us only, by the way. So a really, really big shout out to him because he has been very loyal to us. He is getting old now. He is at the age of 32. We're going to say goodbye to him. Signing one of two. The first one is going to be Sacha Boey, coming in from FC Bayern, previously at Galatasaray, of course, before a little stint in the French league. He is a very solid right back, one that was very interested in joining. He is reasonably quick. He's got great stamina, good work rate, good marking, good tackling, quite good passing as well. The only thing I really want to work on with him is that cross and get it to sort of 13, 14. Try and really develop him because he still can grow at the end of the day. It did cost us a total of £40 million, so 13 million more than Bayern paid for him, but to be fair, he had an average season at Bayern. They were going to whack a bit of money on that, weren't they? So we're going to welcome him in. It's a very good right-back option. He might not actually play right in the first team because Koundé usually gets locked in there when you filter by the best 11, but in the heart, he's going to be our right back. You've got Pedri, you got Gavi. You may as well throw in a João Neves. We'll keep on bringing in Wonderkid midfielders. This guy, I don't even need to talk about. We know how good he is. He's incredibly well balanced, incredibly versatile. He's on £105,000 a week, and he sent me back £60 million. But do you know what? For a player like this, it is an absolute steal. I'll pay that any day of the week. So overall, a lot of activity in the transfer window. We've got 6.7 million being raised there, 31 million being raised there. So it does mean obviously some of this was done in installments, but the team now looks a little bit like this. So we'll make sure it is filtered by the best 11, and it is. So it is going to be Ter Stegen, Koundé, Araujo, Christensen, Balde, Gundogan, De Jong, Rafinha, Pedri, Torres, and Ansu Fati, which is pretty interesting because none of our new signers get into the team, but they will get game time over the season. I mean, when you got a player like Sacha Boey, João Neves, they're going to get game time. You're fully aware of that. This team still can get the job done. Obviously, we have lost the likes of João Felix and Cancelo, but a lot of these names, for example, the likes of an Ansu Fati, have come back, and he's a very good player. You know, he's reasonably quick, he's got good finishing, good composure. We may as well give him a shot before we decide to instantly sell him. It didn't work out for him at Barcelona at the start in his actual career, but let's see what we can do with him. Now, we are playing in 4 competitions again, the Spanish First Division, the Champions League, the Spanish Cup, and the Spanish Super Cup, and they are predicting a finish of 2nd place. For me now, I am expecting a little bit potential of a drop-off from 3 trophies, maybe down to 1 or 2, because we have lost the likes of Lewandowski, João Felix, Cancelo, and our players that we brought in aren't necessarily guaranteed first team. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a challenge. Let's get in to Season 2. So we're going to start off in the Spanish First Division, where we do maintain the actual league title, which is a big achievement. 34 wins, 3 draws, and again, the 1 loss, which again is a 1-0 defeat. We are so close to going completely invincible in this league. It is so annoying. But overall, a very strong season. I will say, not one of our players in the top goal scorer, though, which is a little bit concerning. We do have 3 players, though, when it comes to the average rating, and we've got 2 players in the most assists, and we kept the most clean sheets. Now, team stat-wise, we did score the most goals, so this must mean a very widespread amount of goals coming in from a variety of players, which is a good thing. We are playing as a team. Also the best defensively, so that's also good to see. But I am interested to actually go in and see what the players actually done. So goal scoring wise, it is very well balanced. 25 for Torres, 23 for Ansu Fati, Rafinha with 23, 22 for Gundogan, Neves with 12, Pedri with 8. This is good to see. We have got a lot of players contributing with quite a fair amount of goals, and the same story is being told with the assists. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players there with 10 plus assists. Of course, it is going to be Araujo, who was playing at right back for the majority of the season, which does explain the assist count. João Neves, 2nd top assists in his first season. You can't really complain, and we're actually building up quite a stacked player base here. You look at the value, we have got some really expensive players, but this goes to show, just because you've got a good team, you don't always win everything. And as you can see, it was a bit of a bloodbath in the rest of the competitions. The Spanish Super Cup, we are going to be knocked out in the semi-finals against Real Madrid on penalty. So very annoying, because it could have been another final appearance in that cup. And this cup, I mean, it's an absolute shambles. In the 4th round, we are going to go out, and it is also going to be on penalties against Oviedo. That is a stinker of a result right there. The Champions League, let's go back and backtrack what happened. So did we make it to the semis? We did, and we got beat by PSG. So we did progress from the quarters to the semis, so it is somewhat of a bonus, but overall it doesn't really mean anything, does it? So we've got to try and work on that, as this season we are going to obviously sacrifice the 2 trophies we gained from the first season, 3 in the first, 1 in the second. It is to be expected, and the big question now is, what budget have we got? And the budget we have been given is a total of £50 million. It's pretty fair in my opinion, considering we've not had a great first season. The balance is in the red, so unfortunately, though, I've got to keep spending to keep bringing in players, but I will try and obviously bring in some more money by selling players, but I need this to be changed. I need at least half of the money before I even consider selling some of these top players in terms of the youngsters, because it's simply not worth it. You sell a player for 100 million, you get 25 million. You can't do anything with it, so it is difficult, but we've got to try and work around it. So let's get into what is going to be the 3rd transfer window after a an okay second season. Let's get into it. Didn't want to stay at the club. He wouldn't even accept any of the transfer offers, so it is going to be Dest going to AC Milan, and he is going to be going on the free, which is very annoying because we did pay 19 million, but he simply would not join any team. I couldn't make a penny back. Not the Araujo is going to be going, but the B-Tech Araujo is going to be going to Wolfsburg. We didn't get a lot of money in the end. We got 3.7 million. Still a little bit of profit compared to what we paid for him. To be honest, he isn't that good and really didn't get much game time, so not a big loss. You're also going to decide to sell Longley. Now, this is a player who, you know, he's had a little bit of time out on loan to different teams. He's come back. He doesn't even look that good, to be honest with you. He was on a fair bit of money per week, and we are going to cash in and get £9 million. So again, a bit of a loss compared to what we paid for him from Sevilla, but it is going to free up some wages, and at the end of the day, he's on a bit of a decline. And a player that I didn't even mention, and in real life has been somewhat okay for a couple of seasons, but Romeo realistically is never going to get into this team, so we may as well cash in, release some wage budget as well. We are going to pick up a total of 3.3 million, so again, a bit of profit compared to what we brought him for. You can't really complain. This is a controversial one, and I did look at the goalkeepers on the market before making a decision, and we have got a goalkeeper who is just as good, so this is why we have sold him. It is going to be ter Stegen going to PSG, and they give us a total of £47 million for him. That is a ridiculous amount of money. I do want to say right now, we are up to 50% of the money coming back into the budget, so that is why I'm prepared to sell someone like ter Stegen. 9.7 million we paid. We nearly profited 40 million off this one player. And unfortunately, I'm a big fan of in the game, but it is going to be time for Gundogan to go to the Saudi League. He is going to be going for 7.5 million. Again, he come on the free, so it's more profit back to the club. He still looks very, very good, but he's on the decline eventually. He's 34. He's got, what, tops 2 years left. Cash in when you can. I know this might, it's going to be a talking point me doing this, but I am going to bring in Lukaku for a season because in the game, he's absolutely incredible. And right now, we'll have a little bet, right? If he scores over 30 goals this season, coming up, you've got to leave a like on the video. If he doesn't, you haven't. But I guarantee he will get the job done because he's absolutely incredible in this game. And also, we can use him for one season and then sell him to bring in more money. That is what's going to happen. Even if he scores 70 goals, he is here for one season, then I'm going to sell him because you can easily get 40, 50 million for a player like this. And of course, we spent a total of nothing. So for me, it's a great bit of business because I guarantee we can at least bring in £40 million from him alone. Because of that money in the future, hopefully coming in, I've decided to splash big on another Wonderkid midfield player that is going to be Doué, coming in from Rennes. Again, Gavi, Pedri, João Neves, Doué. We may as well complete the Wonderkid quadruple in midfield. An incredible player, £60 million, but again, you pay for what you get, and he is going to be a player for the future. This rebuild save file that you're going to be getting, it's going to be a good one. And this was the goalkeeper I was talking about. Again, maybe not just as good as ter Stegen, but very close and probably can become better because he is still only 23. That is going to be Trubin, coming in from Benfica and previously of Shakhtar. This is a goalkeeper who, to be honest, can go toe-to-toe for ter Stegen, and he did set me back a total of £45 million. So we didn't really pocket too much of the money that we sold ter Stegen for if you factor in what we spent on Trubin, but we got a goalkeeper who is 10 years younger and basically the same standard. Player on loan but joining on the permanent. We're going to get him back. He obviously was with us to start with. That is going to be Mika Marmol, a player we've loaned in, joining permanently here. You can see, so hopefully he does have a good season because we've spent the money now. He is definitely going to be joining us, and as you can see, he is costing us 7.7 million in terms of loan fees, and then obviously the agreed transfer budget after that we'll discuss in the next transfer window. But he just looks like a very good centre-back, to be fair. Quite quick, good tackling, pretty much everything you would want for a centre-back. Also quite strong as well, so hopefully he can come in. He can also play left-back. I think that's quite a good signing, and he's Spanish. Again, another loanee that is joining on the permanent. Again, I like to do this because sometimes you actually get a better price for your players, and it is going to be Pierre Kalou, a player I've not signed in ages in a rebuild, and I just thought, do you know what? Very similar to Marmol as well. Very quick on the ball, very good stamina-wise, good tackling, good marking, good teamwork, good work rate. He also can play left-back and right-back if needed, but for us, I've expected him to play in the centre-half role, which he can play very, very well. Now, he did cost me a total of 19 million. That is the total fee after, not actually the loan fee, so not a lot of money either, to be honest. So hopefully he has a good season because he's joining regardless, but that is going to complete the third transfer window, and it is a big one. I mean, we've seen the money we brought in here, 55 million, 23 million there, of course Lukaku on the free, Doué for 60 million, then we've got 50 million here, we've got Mika Marmol, and we've got Kalou right there. So an exciting time for the club, definitely a load of fresh faces into this team, and the team now looks like this. So we are going to have Trubin, Araujo, Koundé, Marmol, Balde, Neves, De Jong, Rafinha, Pedri, Fati, and Lukaku. So Fati now going to be putting out on the left-hand side, and The bench, I will say, the bench is actually quite small, which is a bit of a concern. So this third season is what I like to call the rebuild season, where we might not even win a single trophy because I need another season to really strengthen and bring in a lot of fresh faces. And hopefully we can also get a bit of a bigger budget as well, because we do need to factor in that, you know, the likes of, for example, a Rafinha, a Fati, they're not players that are protected. If the offer does come in, we could sell them and bring in sort of 2 players for the price tag we get for them. So we'll see what we can do, obviously, in this third season. We are playing in the same 4 competitions. The Spanish First Division, we are predicted a finish of 2nd place again. It will be nice when that says rank 1, won't it? But we'll see what happens. Let's get into the third season with a very, very new-look team. Let's get into it. So we're going to start off in a Spanish Cup final against Real Madrid, and I will say this is probably one of the best games we've actually had this entire rebuild. De Jong start things off in the 39th minute. We then get a goal just before the half-time whistle, literally 45 minutes on the clock, through to Lukaku, who, you know, we've only seen 1 goal so far, but hopefully that is one of the 30, which I did have a little bet on. Hopefully we can obviously hit that mark. De Jong then plays it over the top into João Neves, who goes alone past Courtois to make it 3-0 in 74 minutes, but they had a bit of a fall-apart session here, as Ansu Fati picks it up, cuts it back into João Neves, very lucky with the rebounds, I will say, to make it 4, and then a 5th goal comes in, the 85th minute. De Jong back in to Araujo, he's going to cut it back into Pedri, back inside, into Alarcon there, and it is going to be a 5-0 lead, and yeah, a 6th goal to wrap this final up 6-0, Torres through to Pedri, goes alone, that is Madrid humiliated. Also match up against Getafe in the Super Cup final, and this one not as many goals, and a very lucky goal to start things off there before half-time, and the last goal comes in now to wrap this up 2-0. Just really good pressing there from De Jong. Back inside into Pedri. That is a finish. Champions League, we are making such good progress in. We were in the quarterfinals, then the semis, now into the finals. We do lose the Champions League against PSG, but we are making such a steady progress. And if we're going off what we're seeing, quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals, champions should be the next season, but what we are champions of is not going to be the Spanish First Division. A little trickery going on there, as we are going to be 2nd place once again to Real Madrid, who are simply turning up. But as you can see, a certain man has scored 42 goals in the league alone, so he has absolutely cooked. The best player overall in the league by quite some distance as well, and it is going to be Balde picking up the most, or the 2nd most amount of assists. Now, stat-wise, Real Madrid are catching up when it comes to goals being scored, and defensively, they actually were better than us for the first time in quite some seasons. So that is going to be an area we might look to improve on. Now, what I will say is we need to respect Romelu Lukaku. 56 goals in this season. I am going to stick to what I've said because I know this game inside out, and after another season, that price tag is going to go down. So I'm going to cash in if I can, but I want to at least attract 30 to 40 million pounds. 56 goals though in one season. It's just what he does. 21 goals there for Ansu Fati, Rafinha 17, João Neves with 16, 12 for Pedri, Torres with 11, 8 for Ronald Araujo. Now what I will say is the assists are very well spread out, but this season, Lukaku's almost become that Lewandowski figure where he is the man who's scoring everything. Then there is a little bit of a drop-off. So he's done his job for the season. We've won a couple of trophies. He's helped out big time. He's got us to a Champions League final. And in my opinion, it was a great bit of business. Now, of course, going into what is going to be the 4th transfer window, I will say if you are enjoying so far, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. But the 4th transfer window, we have been given a big budget and 75% of transfer revenue being available, which I did sort of haggle with them halfway through the season. This budget is absolutely big, and I do want to say right now, with this sort of money, I do think we can bring in, I want to say at least 5 players, 4 to 5 players, which can be a risk because, of course, you can overpopulated team with so many new faces that basically they don't click, they don't gel. So we're going to be sensible about it, but realistically, we've got players here like Lukaku is going to be removed from the team because he is simply not going to be with us next season. Other players like Christiansen, we might move on. Why is he in DM? That is a question for the ages, that is. And we've got some other players on the bench who potentially could be getting moved on. So let's get into the 4th transfer window. It's going to be a difficult one. A lot of time's going to be spent on it. Let's get into it. This is why I sometimes regret Simmons seasons, because Yamal is going to go to Porto on the free. Now, I will say that's an absolute stinker. I will say, on the other hand, though, he has not done anything since he's been at the club. Now, with me, I don't like to lock in players because it's unrealistic, you know, like, at the end of the day, if I'm doing a rebuild and I'm locking in players, I might as well just focus on the 11, not focus on the reserves, the bench. I want players to compete for their position, and he simply didn't get the job done. So I can see why they got rid of him, but on the free, that's an absolute joke. What isn't a joke is the way that I saw this planning out. It is going to be Lukaku, and yes, he's on £800,000 a week now. He has gone to Saudi, and comment below right now, without cheating, how much you think I got for this player, because we signed him for £0, and we brought in a total, not milestones, of £63 million. That is probably one of the best bits of business you have seen on this channel. I can tell you that for free. That is an incredible player, and it freed up a lot of money to go and spend on top of the 170. So we're going to start with a big signing. There's going to be a grand total of £78 million. Jeremy Doku coming in from Manchester City, an incredibly tricky winger and a player who still is only 24 years of age, and he's a leading first division player, ridiculously quick, some of the best dribbling you will ever see from a player. His finishing can do with a little bit of work, but of course we can do that via training. Great flair on him as well, and just a player who I think is going to be a nightmare for defenders to play against. And that is looking likely to be a Manchester United player. That is going to be Manuel Ugarte, coming in from PSG and previously of Bayern. This guy has played at some of the biggest teams in Europe, and to be fair, he's still only 25, so I thought, do you know what? He's a perfect DM. He's got the tackling, he's got the work rate, got the stamina, definitely got the strength, he's got the fitness, he's got everything you want for a DM. He's on a fair bit of money per week, and he did cost us £75 million. But do you know what? For a player of that stature, I'll pay it. We're going to continue to raid PSG, as we are going to also bring in Xavi Simons, which now means João Neves, Doué, Simmons, Gavi, Pedri, 5 Wonderkid midfield players. Probably the best midfield you have ever seen in the rebuild. It's absolutely ridiculous. He did set us back a total of £56 million, which I don't actually think is too bad for a player of this calibre. So welcome in to the 5th Wonderkid of the team. This guy, you usually could pay upwards of £100 million, and we did almost do that with a fee of £80 million, but we have now completed the Lukaku replacement. Someone a lot younger, a lot quicker, with the same finishing. That is going to be Victor Osimhen. Now, this guy is really going to complete this team, and if you just look at the team right now, it's absolutely mental. Are you ready for this? Because this might be the best team we have ever built ever in a rebuild. Here we go. This is going to be it. We have got Trubin, Araujo, Koundé, Marmo, Balde, Ugarte, De Jong, Fati, Simmons, Doku, and Osimhen. And now on the bench, for example, I'll make sure that is filtered by the best 11. It definitely is. On the bench, we have got Penna, obviously, as a backup goalkeeper. We've got Christensen, João Neves, Vitor Roque, Kalou, Pedri, Pablo Torre, Sacha Boey, Gavi, Firmin, Garcia, Torres, Rafinha, Riyad, Doué, and we've got Mika Faye. Now, this is a ridiculous team, and to be honest, all we need to do is win the Champions League to complete this rebuild. That is every trophy possible that we could win, we would have won. And I think the progress we've been making, quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals, hopefully we can win it in the 4th season. With this team, I'm going to be honest, I'll be very surprised if we don't. I've also made a few tactical tweaks as well, so hopefully that makes us a little bit more defensively solid. Let's get in to that 4th season, playing in one extra cup where we are actually in the semi-finals already, that friendly cup. The rest of it is exactly the same, as you can see. This is actually from the last season. So I would imagine they are predicting again another 2nd place finish. But let's get into season 4 and see what we can do. So we're going to start things off with the league. We have reclaimed that, and to be fair, by some distance, 104 points compared to Real Madrid with 87. Victor Osimhen, 37 goals. Xavi Simons, 21. 2 new signings, 1st and 2nd when it comes to the goals, with Jude Bellingham closely behind there in 3rd place. Victor Osimhen and Araujo 1st and 3rd place in the average rating, and Araujo and Balde, both of our fullbacks with the most assists in the league, while Trubin picks up the most clean sheets. And I think it is safe to say we are back to dominance, the best defensively and the best when it comes to scoring goals. Possession-wise, we have fallen a little bit, but to be honest, I don't care, because we're scoring the goals and we're solid at the back. You can't ask for much more. We are going to win your Spanish Super Cup against Real Madrid this time. A very close game, but we get the job done in 2-1 fashion. And we also are going to win that Spanish Super Cup against Real Madrid again, making it a treble over them so far. It's absolute ease. Doesn't really matter, but we also win the Friendly Cup, so far that is 4 trophies, but what you're probably waiting on is the Champions League. Well, a bit of an easier final now against Chelsea in that Champions League, and to be honest, I was very confident going in against this team. Victor Osimhen makes it 1-0 in 10 minutes. Xavi Simons over the top into Araujo now, down the right, back into the middle, into Ansu Fati with 56 minutes played on the clock, with De Jong going very direct now to get the last goal of the game, which does mean we have won the Champions League. That is right, it is going to be be a perfect sweep to complete the video. The Spanish First Division, the Friendly Cup, the Champions League, the Spanish Cup and the Super Cup. The perfect season to wrap things out. And again, you want this rebuild file with all these incredible players, come over and join the Patreon below where you can join the other 4,500 people and gain access to over 13 perks, including, you know, access to some pretty big giveaways. This month's, I believe, is £375 split in between 5 winners. So come over and get involved. But the team I've left you with, they cooked. We'll say that. I mean, 48 goals here for Victor Osimhen, Jeremy Doku with 37, 28 there for Xavi Simons, Ansu Fati with 17, Araujo for 15, 13 coming in for Torres. By the way, Araujo had an incredible season. His price tag, yeah, that is an absolute joke of a season. What a player he is. Everyone playing very well. Balde, 22 assists. This team I've left you with, on paper, is absolutely mental. I mean, honestly, it might be the best team in the game. You could argue maybe you could get a better winger than Rafinha, but he's doing his job very well. So the argument's there that he couldn't be replaced. I mean, every player really pulling their weight. And if you are going to carry on, you will have a budget of £86 million, which is a lot of money to play with. And just the way we've left the club in general is very, very good. I mean, we've obviously won another Champions League, a couple of Spanish First Divisions, loads of Super Cups and Spanish Cups as well. We have really done well, a very, very strong rebuild, and I'm absolutely buzzing with the team I've left for you guys. If you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Comment below what you think of the rebuild, and again, comment below 2 teams you want to see get a rebuild. I am building up a big list, and we're going to start posting rebuilds hopefully once every 2 days again, so we can get nice and consistent and get them requests done for you, because I actually really like doing the rebuilds at the moment. It's very fun to bring in new faces. And again, please throw in a challenge as well. Say, for example, rebuilding Fenerbahce. Maybe you could say you can only sign Turkish players. It's a lot of fun and makes the videos a little bit more interesting. So be sure to do that, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.